So today's session is about the importance of feedback, visualizations, mind over matter. It's a very important aspect, how to build positive thoughts, a habit of positive thoughts, and a little guided meditation, which I hope you're gonna really be able to use whenever you want to. Okay. So here's my cartoon for today. Gary Larson, three guys, old guys walking through the desert. Have been walking for a while, finally come to a tap, a fountain. Finally come to a fountain, and they stop for a second. And now just hold your horses, everyone. Let's let it run for a minute or so and see if it gets any colder. I've been there. Don't wait, is the message there, I think. So let's move on. What are we going to cover today? As before, take pictures and take some notes if you want. I am going to put one of these videos, either Mondays or today's, online. I'm hoping it's going to be today because I've learned a little bit from Monday's session, and it's going to be slightly different today. So last week, very quickly, we're going to recap. We talked about attitude and behavior. Remember the ABC technique, the activating event, the behavior that results from the activating event, and then the consequence, which is the behavior today. And by analyzing that process, we can make changes. Positive mental attitude, hugely important. We are going to cover some of these again. That's a critical piece. How to break bad habits. Do you remember the two techniques that I showed you? The motivation one, the pain-pleasure theory of motivation, focusing on the pain rather than the short-term pleasure to help motivation, because there's different ways to look at something. But also in the other way, we have the other technique, which is taking that breath and focusing on something else, and breathing out and intently focusing on something to make our awareness go somewhere else. And that breaks the pattern of behavior. Okay. So if you haven't watched that, please do. It's session number 4. This is number 5. And we're going to bring it all together next week. So today we're going to talk about something called the Johari Window. And it's going to highlight the importance of interacting with other people, because some people don't like to mix. Some people like to stay by themselves and don't really want to engage, but actually there is a good reason for doing that, which hopefully I can share. And then we're going to disclose some of my experience by talking about a situation that I had to illustrate this concept of mind over matter. So dealing with physical issues by using more mental focus. So I've got a little story to tell you about that. We're going to revisit affirmations. It's hugely important. We did touch on it before, but we're going to actually expand on it and realize today how big affirmations are and how important they are. So we are going to cover them today in a slightly different way. Okay. And use this to build a kind of positive a habit of positive thoughts, and a simple guided meditation, which I'm going to share with you. A very, very simple thing that you can achieve whenever you want, wherever you want, to find that place of peace and calm. So let's get started. Okay. So questions at the very end. We'll have a chat. If you want to type anything, you can put it in the chat window and we can try and answer some questions at the end. Okay. And there's no video. And I'm going to talk about the evaluation at the very end. So let's get started. First thing we're going to talk about is something called the Johari Window. Now, it's a model which is going to illustrate better the importance of getting feedback from other people and how we could benefit from that. So it was created in 1955 by a guy called Joseph, and a guy called Harry. So the Johari Window. And there's an example there. There's the frame, the window frame. It's not quite symmetrical, but anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to identify these different aspects of ourselves in this frame. Now, the first piece, the first frame here, is what we call the open space, the open self, your open self. This is things, if you can imagine that these are things that you know about yourself and other people know about yourself. Everybody knows these are open things. Yeah, it's your open, what we would call your open self. Okay. Then we have what's called the blind self or the blind spot, and these are things that are you don't know about yourself that other people know about you. Yes, it's true. There are things about yourself. You think that you would be the expert on yourself, but actually there are things about us that we don't know that other people know. Yeah. And it's called the blind self. And then we have this other pain, which is we call the hidden self. And these are things that we know about ourselves, but other people don't know, things that we're hiding. Yeah. For whatever reason, we all have things about ourselves that we don't share because of the relationships that we have or because of the situation. But these are things in this situation, in this example here, called the hidden self, things that we hide, the things that we know about ourselves, but other people don't know. And then we have what's called the unknown self or the unknown area. And these are things that we don't know about ourselves and no one else knows about ourselves, about us yet. Okay. And the idea with this illustration here, this Johari window, is that we, through our interaction with other people, can find out more about ourselves, the blind self. And by understanding more about the blind self and also putting that together with what we have as the hidden self, what we know about ourselves that we don't share, we can find out more about our unknown self. And then we can use that opportunity to improve, develop, grow, or change, or not do anything. But it's a way of understanding ourselves better. So you can see from this Johari window here, there is an opportunity through interaction with other people to know more about ourselves. And actually, what we're going to learn from other people is what we call the blind self. It's stuff that we don't know about ourselves already, that other people know about us. And I think that is a great motivator in order to learn more about ourselves. Just the fact that there are things about us that we don't know. Like, for example, you could be at work and you could ask somebody at work, as an example, you know, how are, you know, I've done this piece of work here. It's taken me a few days to do it. How is it? And they'll say, yeah, it's great. It's good. And you might ask, oh, well, you know, how was the timing? And they might say to you, well, actually, you know, you took 3 days to do it, but everyone else can do it in 2 days. So that's some feedback there that you wouldn't have got, but it's part of your blind self, things that you don't know about yourself that you're now finding out from other people, that you can now decide, okay, well, hang on, maybe I am going a little bit too slow. Is there a way of speeding things up? As an example. Yeah. So really, I think the Johari window is something that we can be aware of, something that we can use. It's the idea is that we get good feedback from people. And from that feedback, there's a mutual understanding and we can make agreements and we can cooperate with people better. Okay. So if you are thinking of one of those people who thinks, okay, I don't really like to interact with other people, there is a good reason to do that. But again, this is something to be cautious about as well, because it does have some drawbacks. So consider there are some things that perhaps are better not communicated to other people. Yeah. So, you know, personal, private pieces of information. You can't just talk to anyone about everything. So, and also people might pass on information that they get to further than you wanted it to go, or they may use it in a negative way. So we have to be very cautious. Some people or cultures have very open and accepting approach to feedback and some don't. Okay. People can take feedback personally, yeah, and be offended by it. So it's important when facilitating to exercise caution and start gradually. Start with something small, okay? Because this does require trust and you're building a relationship. You're building a relationship with someone who's a stranger, someone that you work with, someone, but you're going a little bit further to get their feedback because you value it. And you're building this trust, okay? So that's the Johari window. You can look it up. It's actually quite well documented. But I want to move on now to some of the other stuff that I think would be important to share. And this is an experiment that I did about visualization, how we perceive things, how we see things, actually in our mind's eye, looking and creating that picture, and how powerful that skill is. And it is a skill. A lot of people are very physical. So I'm going to use an example, which is going to be, I call it mind over matter, because actually what with this course is about mental health, and it's about using the power of the mind And, and in this instance, what we're doing is, oops, sorry.
Somewhere where I wanted to go.
Got someone in chat here.
It was where husbands and wives went, where people celebrate their...
Sorry, 1 second. Can I just ask everybody to mute their audio?
And it would have been, you know, and it still is now.
Okay, so let's get on with this. Now, a lot of people are physically very capable and very confident. So this is actually a different aspect, because people who are very physically capable, looking after themselves, and that's all very good, but it's, you know, life and human beings is about balance, the mind, the body, and the spirit. So this is an exercise for people who are physically okay even to try, yeah, because this is something that's going to benefit them, and they can actually apply it very easily, very quickly. But for the rest of us, you know, you can apply this as well, but you have to be more mindful of what you're doing. Okay, let me just go through it. It's an idea of how we deal with stress and pressure. Even if it, and particularly I'm using an example which is physical. So it's physical stress that I'm putting my body through, that I'm going to use my mental skill or ability to manage. Okay, so let's get on with it. So it's really because I'm going to use the gym as an example again, or exercise. And the gym is a very good example because I see it all the time when I was working in the gym, doing some coaching. And you see young people coming into the gym, and they get into the this frame of this mental state where they start doing some weights. They want to pump some weights. They put the loud pumping music on, and that produces an aggressive state, if you like, something that they can use to push, to lift some weights. And you see them going, and they're getting all riled up in order to do the exercise. So what's happening there is that the aggression that they're producing, that mental state that they're creating, is actually triggering their bodies to produce adrenaline. And adrenaline is a natural chemical that's produced by the body. It's actually for a good reason, fight or flight, but it's also a natural painkiller. So when you have adrenaline going through your body, you don't feel the pain. Yes, okay, if you hurt yourself, afterwards, when the adrenaline leaves your system, you're going to start to feel the pain. But actually, at the time, it's a natural painkiller. And I see a lot of elderly people, a lot of older people going into the gym and trying to train in exactly the same way, because that's what we know. We know that when you go to the gym, you get into a state and you've got to push yourself and you've got to fight. But actually, there is another way. And especially if you're an older person, yeah? So one of the things that we can do as older people is we have something that younger people don't have. We have a whole lifetime and wealth of life experience, yeah? And those experiences are what we can use for our visualizations. And they're ideal because we've been there and we've lived it. So to give you an example, if I was to imagine being in a tropical country, I've been in a tropical country. So it's pretty easy for me. I've been there. I can imagine what it's like when it rains. Have you been in a tropical country when it rains? Yeah. Do you remember what it feels like when the rain falls on your skin? It's warm. That moment, that experience that you've had is something that you can use now to put yourself into put your mind, your mental plate, put yourself into that mental space in order to overcome your physical challenge. Yeah. It's visualization, and it's ideal because it's an experience that you've had. Young people don't have these experiences to draw on. So let me explain how I use this. I used to go to the gym in the mornings, and I used to run on the treadmill. And every day I'd go to the same piece of equipment, yeah, and I'd have interval training. So I'd increase the incline on the treadmill, or I'd increase the speed every minute. So every minute it got harder and harder. And for 5 minutes, I start with a walk, then I got faster, then I got steeper, then I got steeper and faster. And at the end of 5 minutes, I drop it back down to a walk. So this is what you call intervals. We increase the intensity and then we drop it down. And then we do that each 5 minutes. And I do that for 20 minutes. And I used to listen to dance music. I used to like pumping music, push myself through it. And great. I used to finish my workout and adrenaline used to flow and everything would be fine. And I'd measure at the very end of the equipment, of the workout. They've got these sensors. You hold on to the sensor and it measures your heart rate. And your measure of fitness is not actually how much you can do. Your measure of fitness for the body is actually how quickly you recover. That's how you measure fitness. So I noticed that when I held on to this bar, these sensors at the end, that my fitness, my heart rate will get down to about 130 beats a minute, but it would take about 2 minutes at first. Yeah, sorry, got someone coming in. It would take about 2 minutes. So what I decided to do is this experiment. So I do this workout every single day. So the next day first day I did it, measured my heart rate, 2 minutes to cool down. Next day, went to the same piece of equipment, did exactly the same workout. But instead of pumping aggressive music, I listened to very calm, peaceful music. I think it was called chill out. It was chill out music. I mean, there was a bit of piano in it. It was very, very relaxing, very calm. And instead of pushing myself, when I started to get hard, I took a deep breath and I let the tension go. And I tried to relax. Now I'm telling you, with every single breath, it's easy to relax. And you'll find that as soon as you do that, that the breath out, we've talked about this before, is relaxation. You will find an instant difference between where you were to where you are at the end of your breath. But the difficulty is not finding that. The difficulty is staying in that relaxed state. When the stress starts to build, when the physical stress starts to you find yourself under more and more stress and duress, to maintain that calm composure and to keep yourself relaxed. And it's not easy, but I did try. I actually tried it with the last minute of my workout. I tried it first, but actually I'll go back to this. So I did this. I maintained this calm breathing as much as I could. I still had the incline and the speed increases, but I still tried to keep calm and try to relax and try to be in a mental state. And the way that I do that is I use nature. Yeah, I think about what it feels like to be in that space where the rain is in a tropical country touching my skin when it's raining, and be in that space. I think about the waves. I think about water. Yeah, and water could be a gentle stream trickling, but water could also be a wave. Yeah, and a wave doesn't just crash on a beach. A wave travels across an ocean. It's a huge force of nature, this amazing volume of water pushing forward, rolling across the sea. And feel that being part of that wave and that visualization of being in that wave and using those visualizations to get past, to get through that stress that I was putting myself under, to take a breath and be in that space. So I did this, and I had to work up to 20 minutes actually to be able to do this experiment. I started off doing it with 1 minute, and then I increased it to see if I could do it for longer. So now when I go for 20 minutes. And at the end of the 20-minute workout, exactly the same workout, exactly the same machine, I measured my heart rate and how long it took to get back down to normal. 1 minute, 20 seconds. I'd shaved so much time off my measurement just by keeping myself in a calm and relaxed, or in control of my mental state, control of my breathing. This is me making it easier for me to physically achieve something by focusing mentally and putting myself using a visualization to put myself in a different place. And it works. I tried that experiment. I do this all the time actually now. The first thing I do when I get on a treadmill is I relax and I try and keep calm and keep composed and be in that different space. It's not easy. It does take practice and it takes time, but it works. So this is just my experience that I'm sharing with you of how visualizations can overcome your physical, the mind over the matter. Okay. So let's go a little bit further into this. The breath, we talked about this before. It's pain relief. Yeah. Women have babies. They use it for pain relief when women are having babies. That's how powerful it is. It's release of tension. It's the release of stress. So we're using the breath to do that. And we used it last week in the example of how to break habits. So it's that breath and focus technique again, I suppose. So you use this to take control of your body, yeah, to force yourself to take a grip and to take responsibility for your breath. And you have to focus and concentrate. And by doing this, you're automatically bringing yourself into a different state of mind. Yeah. As I said, getting there is easy. The hard part is staying there. And the point of this exercise is two things. We want to be able to manage stress. So I started off with just doing a minute at a time until I worked my way up to 20 minutes. But actually, once you start to put yourself in stressful situations physically, and you learn to manage that stressful situation by controlling your mental focus, that translates to your everyday experiences as well. So you can find yourself more in control of yourself when you're in stressful situations. And that's the key to this experiment, yeah? So also, one last thing about this, it's about finding zero. When I talk about the breath and I talk about relaxation, it's about what I call finding zero. It's that place that you can be calm and relaxed, and you're not high emotionally, you're not low emotionally, you're at zero. And it's really important to experience what it feels like to be at zero. The experiment that I talked about last week, finding zero, like being in the sun and feeling the sun on your skin and the breeze on your skin and taking a breath and letting everything go. That's zero. Yeah. So actually, if you know where zero is, then you know how stressed you are. You know how happy you are. You know how sad you are, because you know where zero is. Without knowing that, you have no measurement. So it's really important that we know, so that we know that we need to come back a little bit, that we need to control it. So we need to be able to measure it. So it's a really important experiment. So, as I said, with this experiment, you start small, you work your way up, you add the pressure. Okay? So that was the first visualization experiment. Now, this course is about well-being. This is a technique for better management, sensitivity of your physical, mental, and spiritual energy. So it's you maintaining focus. And also the visualization that I think I'd like to use here and I'd like to share is when we talk about the spirit. A lot of people feel that, I used to think that the spirit was in my body. But I think now the visualization has allowed me to take it a little bit further and realize that actually my spirit is not contained in my body. Yeah. My body is in my spirit. Like if you had a candle, a flame, I mean, it's surrounding me. If you had a candle, you've got the wick, the candle, and then the wick, and then the flame. But the physical being that we are is the candle and the wick. The spirit is the light. So that's bigger. And when we tap into those visualization experiences and realize that we are bigger, that we are tapping into this energy, that actually it takes us even further. Okay? Good spiritual health. So let's move on. I'm going to do this guided meditation. Now, you don't have to do this, but I do think that you should try it at some point. Okay. It's going to take about 2 or 3 minutes. I would suggest that you close your eyes. If you don't want to do it now, what you could do is you could wait until later on this afternoon. I'm going to upload this video so you can listen to it again and you can actually try this another time. But I'm going to do it for the people who want to try this. We're going to do it. Okay. And it's called a place of peace. So this is a place that we can go to when we're, if we need a space that we can go to in our minds that is peaceful and calm. And that's what we're going to try and achieve now. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes. Okay. So if you close your eyes, I want you to imagine that in front of you is a house. Okay. And this house has some steps that are going up to the front door. Okay. So I want you to walk up to the steps. Imagine yourself walking up to the steps and getting to the front door and then opening the front door. Yeah. So we open the front door and we're in this lobby entrance hall. And in front of us is the downstairs hallway. And at the end of the hallway, you can't really see because actually there's a very, very bright light. The kitchen is there. There's a kitchen and the sun is in the back there. And that's why you can't see, because it's so bright coming through the kitchen door, through the hallway. And right where you're standing is at the bottom of the stairs. Yeah. So you've got the light there, you've got the hallway, and you've got the bottom of the stairs. And we're going to walk up the stairs. So if you take the stairs on the right, going up the stairs, and as we come to the top, it turns slightly, and then a couple more steps, and then you're on the landing upstairs. So at the landing, we can turn left or right. We're going to take right. Yeah. And we're going to walk down to the end of that corridor, if you like, that space. And there's a junction, there's like a T-junction in front of us. We can go left or we can go right. So we're going to go right again. So you take this right-hand turn, and looking down the corridor, there's about, I don't know, 6 rooms on either side of this corridor. The carpet is a dark red, like a burgundy color. And the walls are a sort of Victorian green. Yeah. And as we walk down, we're going past these closed doors to the end of this corridor. And at the end of this corridor, there's a door on the left, and there's a plant outside. Yeah. And we're going to open this door on the left, and we're going to walk in, and we're going to close the door behind us. And the room that we're in is completely empty. It's white. It's quiet. There's nothing in here. You've closed the door behind you, and everything in the world exists outside of that room. But in that room is just you. It is only you. This is a quiet space. Yeah. This is a peaceful space. In fact, it's bright, but there's nothing there. So what we can do is we can have a little plant. We can have a little like rubber tree or palm plant or something there. Yeah. We can have a window. Let's put a window. We can put a window. It's a nice bright sunny day outside. So the light is coming through. Yeah. And this is your space. This is a space that you can go to whenever you want to have some peace and quiet and calm. You can sit in this space and meditate. You can sit in this space and do nothing, but nothing comes into this space unless you let it in. The door, if something knocks on the door, you don't have to open it. You don't have to let it in. You can go out, but that's a space that you're saving. This is a special space. Okay? This is yours. Only you know about it, and it is in your mind. Okay? So we're going to leave the space for now. You can spend as much time there as you want. You do have to leave eventually. So we're going to open the door. We're going to step out, close the door behind you. We're at the end of the corridor. Let's go back down the corridor, about 6 rooms. And then we're going to take a left. Yeah. We take a left, and then we come to the top of the stairs. We go down the stairs to the front door. Yeah. And then we go out the front door, close the door behind you, and then walk down the steps to the front of the house. So this is your space. How do you get to that room in future? How do you know how to get there? Well, it's simple. You close your eyes, you walk up to the front door, you open the front door, remember the lights in the corridor, the downstairs hallway, and we go up the stairs, we take a we take a right, we go to the end, we take another right, and right down the end of the corridor, the door on the left with the plant outside, that is your room. Okay? So this is your space whenever you want to use it. Yeah? So I'm leaving that one with you. You know how to get there. So you know how to leave, and you know how to keep it there. Go there sometime. I'll leave that as your homework. But we're going to move on. We can create a space in our own minds, which is ours, and only we decide what's going to come into that space. You can replay the video later if you want to go through that. Now, I want to give you another story. I want to move on now because we're going to run out of time if you're not careful. And I want to talk about affirmations, the power of affirmations. Okay. So we're going to revisit it, and we're going to use affirmations to build our positive habits now and our positive thoughts. So I want to tell you another story. When I was younger, I could not understand. I was having a difficult time in my life at that time, and I couldn't understand why sometimes when you go to sleep, when you're in a good mood and you go to sleep, why is it that when you go to sleep, when you wake up, you're not in the same mood that you were in when you went to sleep? I didn't understand that. I know that your brain is going through your dreams and your stuff that you've been taking in through the day and organizing things and putting things in boxes. I know that's happening. but I just thought it was a very simple thing. If I go to sleep and I'm in a good mood, surely I should wake up in a good mood. And I didn't understand why that was happening. Sometimes I wake up and I'm in a good mood. Sometimes I'm not in a good mood. Sometimes I go to sleep and I'm not in a good mood and I wake up in a good mood. So it doesn't make any sense. So what I did realize though, is I thought, what can I do? And what I realized was that sleep resets you. That's what it does. And some people use sleep as a great, tool for when you're feeling emotional, or something happened, to use sleep as a way of just calming yourself down. When you wake up, you feel better than you did when you went to sleep, if you can sleep. So what I decided to do is, I thought, what I'm going to do is, when I'm in a good mood, how do I, when I wake up, get back to that place? So what I did is, when I was in a good mood, great mood, I decided I was going to write down these things that were making me in a good mood, things that I felt good about, things that were really positive, and things that really lifted me and made me feel so good. I had to write them down. And what I did is I wrote them down, and then when I woke up in the morning, I would read that to remind me of why things are so good. And those things are the things that became my affirmations. Yeah? You reword them, you make them into affirmations, and you remind yourself every single morning. So you're not starting from zero anymore. You're already starting from high up by meditating, doing your affirmations, reminding yourself of how great things are, and you can add to them. Yeah. So you remind it, and then from there, the day begins. So we put ourselves in the best possible state, mental state, at the beginning of the day. Yeah. So I have a long list of them now, because I've added to them, because there's more stuff. And remember, with the affirmations, you've got to say it, feel it, and see it. Yeah. So you are reminding yourself every single morning of those positive things. So that is a really important thing to do in order to get you back to scratch every day. You don't want to have to, you're not going to remember everything, but if you have it written down, you're reminding yourself. Okay. So that's why we need to do the affirmations. So you can try, obviously sleep does, when you're finding yourself in an emotional state, some people use that as, oh, I feel so tired. I feel something's happening. Oh, I'm going to go to sleep. What? You're going to go to sleep? But actually, it's something that people use as a technique to help them deal with high emotional states. So as I said, our minds are making sense of our days and our dreams, filing events away, our feelings, our emotions, all the logic and everything when we're sleeping. But we do need that reminder in the morning, and it does work because I do it. So, and I can tell you it works because I do it. So you can add to them, and you have to stick to your morning routine. Okay. Because that's the habit that we're creating. So not only are we having a habit of positive things that we're doing, we're having a habit of positive things that we're telling ourselves. And this is the thing, these are the things that are going to make the difference. So you've got homework. A lot of homework today, but actually it's because every single week we build on previous weeks. So it's a 6-week course. And the intention is, remember at the very beginning of the first week, to practice and to reflect. And then the next week we have some more to practice and to reflect. So yes, last week I wanted to continue everything that we've been doing. Feel free if you want to type a question now. We've got a little bit of time. Next week is our last week. And actually, we will need some feedback maybe for next week, because the session next week is going to be much more interactive. So I might have to enable the audio next week so that you guys, but I'm going to give you a head start on that. But so for your homework, obviously continue with your affirmations. Now you know that there is a way of using that positive energy that you have to support you when you're not feeling so good. Write that stuff down. Yeah. Continue with your meditation. Meditate in peace. Meditate on your day. Run through it in your head. Don't think about it anymore. Be aware of how you're using your energy. Remember all of this stuff. Remember the mindfulness, being in the moment, the positive mental attitude, and the techniques for breaking habits and motivating yourself. All of that you've got to continue doing. But actually, the Johari window says that we can find out more about ourselves from other people. So I want you to consider, if there's someone that you know, or someone that you think that you would trust their answer, to open up and to ask a question for them to tell you something that you maybe aren't going to know about yourself. Start small. When you're feeling stressed, physically stressed, yeah, when you're under physical duress, remember the experiment in visualizations, putting yourself in a different space, putting yourself somewhere else. Use your life experience. Use those moments. Remember the details in those moments. Yeah, those beautiful times, how it felt. Make it come to life. Yeah, and then use that experience that you have in a positive way to support you now and help you now. Young people can't do this. They don't have life experience. We have the life experience. We have another way. So take a few minutes out, just like the sun experiment. Yeah, I want you to try this yourself now that you have this space. I should have given the room a name, but actually you can give the room a name. Yeah, it's yours. And use that opportunity to try, just try it. Just try and sit just for a few minutes. It's 5 minutes, I suppose. And just sit and try and find that room again, that space. And when you get there, close the door behind you, take a deep breath and relax. Let it go. Let everything go in that space. Okay? You can pick it up when you leave. That's a safe space. Try it. And actually for next week, I need some feedback. So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise next week where I want you to think of if you think about yourself in the future, what you would want for yourself in the future, how you would look, how you would feel, any details that you're willing to share. I want you to share that with me next week, because we're going to do an exercise which is going to need some content, and we're going to pull everything together that we've learned in the previous weeks. So it's going to be a really interesting session, but it's going to be really important. And if you can bring something of yours, then it's personal. It means that this is going to work for you. So I want you to think about what your goals are and just bring one, okay, for next week, just to share. Feedback is really, really, really important. Please do go to the mind-angels.com/eval and give me some feedback on the session or on the course. We use that to promote the sessions for other people as well, so they know what it's about. So please, it will be very important. Doesn't matter what it is, please do give me some feedback. And you can have a look at the charity's website. We have other stuff that we do too. Okay, so that's the end of today's session. The timing is very, very good. Literally got 1 minute left, and I want you to have a great week. We have covered an awful lot in the last 5 weeks, and you have everything that you need, really. Yeah. And next week we're going to prove that. So remember your goals. Bring a goal for next week, what you perceive to be your vision of yourself in the future, or what you want for yourself in the future. And we're going to pull it all together next week. So thank you so much for joining in the session today and being part of it. It's really important to me that you get something out of it. So just have a great week. I'll post this online so you can look at it again. Thank you for coming. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.